All right, so for the first section, chapter 4, we're going to talk about angles and then some vocab that we'll need throughout the chapter. So, first question is, what is a radian? When we start measuring in radians, it's good to know exactly what we're talking about. Degrees, when you think about 1 degree, you know that it's just a teeny tiny sliver of the circle. It's 1/360th of the circle. Radians are a little bit different. If you draw in a radius straight across, and then you pick that measurement up and lay it along the arc. So here this would be radius and then that same length of line but curved along the edge. As far as you get, if you stop and then connect the center with the end point, that angle made is 1 radian. If you can see, it's approximately 60 degrees, so approximately 6 radians fit in a circle. But that is how a radian is defined. A radian is a unit of measure and of angle equal to the angle at the center of the circle whose arc is equal to the radius. So, when we work with angles, often we have degrees, radians, we want to convert back and forth. So if you want to convert radians to degrees, you'll multiply whatever you have, multiply by 180 over pi. And the 180 degrees will turn it into a degree measurement. If you want to go degrees to radians, you multiply by pi over 180. All right, some more vocab. We have coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are 2 angles in standard position that have the same terminal side. So for example, if you have an angle like 45 degrees, all right, one way to talk about this angle is to call it 45 degrees. Okay. Another name for this angle is to use the negative name, which would be down and around, and that would be negative 315 degrees. They're the same angle because they start at the same side and they end at the same side, but it's just a different way to get there. Another name would be go all the way around and then to the angle. That would be 360 plus 45, that'd be 405 degrees. So you can see there's many ways to get to this angle. You can go straight there, you can go around, you can go backwards, but any number that lands at this terminal side would be called a coterminal angle. So if you have something like 45 degrees, a quick way to get coterminal angles, or angles that are the same angle but with a different name, is to add or subtract a full circle, or 360 degrees. 45 plus 360 would be 405, and 45 minus 360 would be negative 315. So that would be one positive and one negative coterminal angle. This asks for 2. So to get more, you would add multiples of a circle, or like 720. So if you add 720, you would get 765. If you subtract 720, you would get negative 675. You could add or subtract many multiples of circles if you needed. If you're working in radians, we'll do the same thing. We just have to add or subtract a full circle in radians, and there are 2 pi circles in a 2 pi radians in a circle. So the 360 and the 2 pi are the same. So if I take 2 pi over 2 plus or minus 2 pi, I am dealing with fractions, so I will need to have a common denominator. I would multiply this by 2 over 2, which makes this 2 pi times 2, it makes it 4 pi over 2. So 2 pi is the same as 4 pi over 2. Then I can add it to this because they both have a denominator of 2. So pi plus 4 pi would be 5 pi over 2. Pi minus 4 pi would be negative 3 pi over 2. So just like these are same names for 45, these are same names for pi over 2. I'm going to do that again, but with 2 circles, like I did with 720, but this time I'll do it with 2 circles, which would be 4 pi. Multiply by 2 over 2, which will get me a common denominator. 4 pi times 2 would be 8 pi over 2. Then I'll do pi plus 8 pi, 9 pi over 2, and pi minus 8 pi. So all of these are different names for that same angle pi over 2.